Well, we have no theme song today, but anyways, welcome to Face to Facts. I'm Nick Face, and guess who's back? First of all, Ryan Pinette is back after a long absence, so welcome.
Nice to be back.
Mr. Vendt is also back, so we got a jam-packed edition here of Face to Facts. Don't know when the next episode will be, but we'll just keep them coming, you know. Anyway, first of all, the Celtics had some big news last night with their NBA lottery happening. Well, it looks like Greg Oden and Kevin Durant are not coming to the Celtics. The Celtics got the number 5 pick. Where does this place them? Why don't we start with Ryan?
This puts them way back. I know a lot of the fans and especially the Boston organization just had high hopes for getting Oden or Durant in one of those first 2 picks, but slipping all the way back to number 5 is really going to affect the team, and we needed one of those guys, definitely. And now if we slip back to number 5, now we're looking at Al Horford or Joakim Noah, one of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Who are fine players, but I think that this really puts the organization back another 5 years. I think that the team is probably good enough as constituted right now to just make the playoffs or just be out of the playoffs, which means we're looking at the rest of Paul Pierce's career of just making the playoffs or just being out and not having a chance at another stud player. And it's just gonna, it's gonna be another 5 or 6 years before we're gonna see a championship here in Boston.
I know last night that they had Mike. Who's the announcer that the Celtics have? The Mike. What's his name? Mike.
Oh, Mike Gorman.
Mike Gorman. They had him on with Donnie Marshall, and they were talking about possibly trading like some guys that they have right now. Pretty much saying that Al Jefferson and Pierce were going to stay, but everybody else, it's up in the air. So Delonte West.
Yeah, I know the thought had been that they could package some of the younger players with the pick and possibly get another veteran in here to help the team and try to do something. But unless they get a Garnett or a Pau Gasol who isn't going to be traded because that's their stud in Memphis, unless they get one of those kind of guys or a guy of that caliber, they're not going to go anywhere. Now, having said that, I mean, we got Daisuke here this year too, and that came out of nowhere. And then we just traded for Randy Moss and the Patriots. So who knows what's going to happen?
A different organization.
Different organization.
Must say that.
But if you had told me last year that we were going to have Randy Moss on our team this year, I would have said, no way, absolutely no way. So you never know. There's always a slim possibility that a stud player could come here or a top-of-the-line player could come here to be with Paul Pierce and Al Jefferson and do something. But barring that, it's not going to happen here.
But then again, you're looking at you're only going to get a veteran player. So if you, but then they're only going to.
You're talking a short window with a veteran player, 2 or 3 year window.
If you were to get an Odin or Durant, they're with you. You can slap a franchise
It builds us even further to get to the playoffs.
Exactly.
But right now, there's so many questions there's so many questions that have to ask to be stated that you just don't know where to start.
Yeah. We were talking about this the other day. There has, aside from the Jordan Bulls, which granted they won 6 championships, there has been no other championship team without a dominant big man.
Right.
In the history of the NBA.
Right.
So, I mean, you need a dominant big man. Can Al Jefferson be that dominant big man?
We saw signs of it this year.
We saw signs of it this year.
Exactly.
But I got to be honest with you. Looking at what happened in the playoffs this year to Phoenix. I mean, Phoenix. I would have said when the playoffs started, Phoenix was the best team coming out of the playoffs, and they were the odds-on favorite to win the championship. Both Phoenix and the Mavericks went down. Both teams don't have a dominant traditional big man.
Yeah.
And it's just a fascinating thing to look at in the NBA.
They can Durant and Oden are certainly going to fill. Probably Portland's needs. Portland would probably go after Oden, and number 2 is Seattle.
Go after Oden.
I believe it is.
Seattle got the number 2.
Seattle got number 2.
So you have to assume they're going to take Durant.
Right.
And that makes Seattle an instant
threat
contender.
next year.
Yeah.
With Ray Allen and with probably Durant. Durant is going to be a big scorer next year. So
I don't know if anybody gets the Sporting News magazine. I don't know if do you get it?
Does that even still exist?
But on the front cover, any idea who they had on it?
I don't know.
They had Tim Duncan in a Boston Celtics
Boston
uniform.
Celtics uniform.
Really?
That got me so angry
pathetic.
seeing that.
I kept that on my desk all week and kept looking at it, and I'm like, that looks like Greg Oden. That looks like Greg Oden. But
I know.
That hurts. It certainly does hurt.
That's it's been the bad luck of the Celtics.
Ever since Len Bias.
Len Bias
in
and
87.
Tim Duncan, and then you got the Rick Pitino era and all that.
You have Reggie Lewis also.
Exactly, Reggie Lewis. I mean, it's been bad news.
It's been one thing after another with this franchise, and I mean, it makes me sad because I really thought that if they could have gotten Oden or Durant, but specifically Oden, that I thought they would have been a championship quality franchise in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
And now I just don't see it happening.
Right.
Who knows?
Another thing that was also in question.